You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
You've heard me talk on this show about Mr. Benton and 7th grade and how it was a turning point in my life and how going to school became the escape. My home life was so insane with all of the drunks living there that getting out to school was the only way I stayed alive. And I went to school 6 days a week because I was there on Saturday as well. I would have been there Sunday too, except Mark said that students and faculty weren't allowed on campus on Sunday, so we weren't allowed to go there on Sunday. But I would have totally done that too. But you can imagine how excited I was after this amazing 7th grade experience when people from the high school came to the elementary school to talk to us about what high school was going to be like and to sign us up for an elective. Now, we had done electives at the elementary level. They had experimented with it. So we kind of got the feeling of getting up, going to another classroom. Because remember, up until this point, elementary school is all in the same room. You stay in the same room all day, and the teacher teaches all subjects. But in 7th grade, they tried this experiment, and we got up and went to another class. You know, I did perspective drawing with Mr. Cavan, and I did game theory strategy with Mr. Benton. And so high school seemed like, oh, this is going to be a breeze. They're going to come here, going to pick an elective. Now, I was used to getting, in 7th grade, I got straight A's. I studied. I did all of my work. I did extra work. So I was used to throwing myself into school and doing everything. And at the same time, I was also going to GATE, which is Gifted and Talented Education, where they bust you to another school in La Mirada, and for a week you went there with only the most intelligent, brightest kids. It was a program my mother fought to get me into. And so I was doing that too, and that was some of the stuff there was really complicated. And it was designed to challenge, smart kids. So it was double hard. The math was triple hard, and we were pushed to our limits at there. But we all enjoyed it because for us, again, school was fun. So why wouldn't high school be any different? So they come, they give us a talk. At one point, an improv group showed up from the college, from high school, and did a show, a comedy show. And I was like, oh, this should be great. So everybody started talking about what electives they had taken. Here's the thing. My last name is Tucker. The letters are T and U. So I'm always at the back. When there's a line, I'm at the back. When it's alphabetical, I'm at the back. The only time I'm ever in front, if it's by height. Thank you. But by the time they got to me, everyone had already picked their electives, all of the Jones and the Smiths and the Gonzalezes had already picked their elective. So they were telling me what they had gotten, what they wanted, what was easy. And there was a bunch to choose from. There was drama, home economics, creative writing, typing, and what I picked, because I thought I'm going to be smart. I'm going to pick the easiest elective there. That way, the elective part, I can breeze through. And I can concentrate on my studies, my math, my English, my history. and surviving PE. So I picked arts and crafts because I was like, it's got to be popsicle sticks and glue and whatever, and this is going to be easy. So I didn't think nothing of it, and 7th grade ended, and I was going to be sent off to high school. The district I went to, for the time period that I went to, they had eliminated middle school. There was no junior high. So I went from 7th grade elementary school to 8th grade high school. Our high school was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it was, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's quite a haul there. That's 5 years at a single school. We had just done 8, 12, kindergarten, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Of course, you don't remember any of it. You're way too young. High school, you're going to remember every single waking, awful moment of it. And that's designed by, on purpose. So, this was 1984. May 1984, June 1984, I left Loretta F. Lambton Elementary, and I had a really good summer. The summer of 1984 was really good. The Olympics were here. There was a real feeling of solidarity in the state, in the area. I went down to the Olympics Village. I traded pins with people from all over the world. I came home with pins from every country, including Russia, who didn't even participate, but they said people were there trading Russian pins made out of aluminum. They were the coolest things ever. And that was the summer of Ghostbusters. It was a good summer. 1984 was a great summer, and it was the last summer before high school. So I hung out, I tried to keep my friends. That transition is tough because everyone's getting older and priorities are changing. In the summer of 1984, we're only 1 year away from Return of the Jedi. So I still had a room full of Star Wars toys. I had a small collection of Transformers. I was still very into action figures and toys and that stuff that I would find out very quickly was not welcome at high school at all. So I spent that summer not knowing what I was about to walk into. I was 4 feet 11 inches, and I was a complete nerd. And I spent the summer goofing off. Now, the high school offered a get to know Norwalk High day, where you're supposed to go down and walk the campus and pick out a locker instead of having one assigned to you. And just get the general feel of the layout of the school. And my mother pushed me to go, and I didn't go because I thought, what do I need that for? I'm intelligent. I'll figure out where my classes are. It'll be easy, no problem. So I didn't do that, and instead I waited for the first day of school. I have a picture of me on the first day of high school. I will try to put it on the 91 Reasons page. I think it's been there before, but now you'll actually have context for it. So there I am in I think it's a camouflage shirt with no sleeves or half sleeves, my ridiculously small duffel bag, and most importantly, I have my spirit intact. It hasn't been crushed yet. Oh, it will. It will be very soon. But for that brief moment, everything is great. I'm a straight A student. I'm smart. I've just had a great year with a teacher that I admired beyond anything. And how bad could high school be? So my mother went to work, taking my sister to elementary school, and I set off to walk, it's just a few blocks, to Norwalk High School on Leffingwell. And I waited for the bell to ring. Okay, so I'm on campus. It's time to get to class. I've got my class schedule. I've got my Trapper Keeper. I've got my sack lunch with a canned soda covered in aluminum foil, my sandwich, bag of chips, Hostess treat. I am ready to go. First thing first, find your locker. So I get the paper out. I find the locker. They have given me a locker. There are 3 rows of lockers. The bottom, the middle, and the top. So they have given me the top locker. I cannot even reach this locker. So I have to learn the combination basically by memorizing the bottom numbers. I mean, that sounds insane, right? So line up the top number, which is what's on the paper, but memorize the bottom number because, Jeff, that's what you can see. So get the locker ready, check it out, put my lunch in it, slam the door, get my school schedule out, and try to find that classroom. So I don't know where anything's at. And everybody is so much taller than me. And there are girls everywhere. And I don't know what to do. Like I am flummoxed. So I have to ask somebody, excuse me, I'm looking for this classroom. I'm looking for the math class. I had math first thing out, Mr. Vedica. So they tell me it's just opposite the boys' gym. I don't know where the boys' gym is. It's the biggest building on campus. Oh, okay. So I run off. I've got my pens. I've got pencils. The one thing I don't have is the one thing I would come to understand that you have to survive high school. But I wouldn't figure that out for a little bit. So I find the room, and it's closed. So I look around, and I knock on the door, and a few seconds later it opens, and there's Mr. Vedica. He looks like if you tamed Frankenstein and taught him to be really civil. Yes. Hi, I'm actually in this class. You're late. Oh, well, it's first day. I couldn't find it. You're late. Oh, yes, I'm late. What is your name? Jeff. Your last name? Oh, Tucker. Mr. Tucker, get in here and sit down. Okay. So I go in, and of course, it's first day of school. Everyone's allowed to pick their desks. So I'm at the front. I'm used to being in the back of the room my entire school career. And here I am at the front with a teacher who's already completely pissed off at me for being late. So I was a little on edge. Like I didn't know what to do. So first thing he says is, all right, we're gonna start with some basic math, see where you guys are at. Pull out your paper. I'm sorry, what? Pull out your paper. I don't, you guys don't provide paper? Mr. Tucker, we don't provide. You have to have paper and pens. We do everything in ink. Put that pencil away. Oh, you don't do pencil either. So I have to have pen. I have pens. I have a pen. But I don't have any paper. Mr. Tucker, I didn't read the paperwork because I don't remember needing paper. You have to have paper. Okay, hold on. So I turn behind me. I don't know who these people are. There's like 6 elementary schools all being dumped into Norwalk High. So, excuse me, can I, some girl, she's completely done with me. I haven't even asked. And she's completely done with me. Paper rips. hands to me without a word. I would later find out her name was Jenny Dowling, and she would be my first high school crush, which went nowhere. I barely even talked to her. But you have to fixate on somebody, right? I guess somebody, and she hated me. Like I could tell behind me, like the stares of the penetrating, awful stare behind me in math class. Oh my God! So the first week of math class, I'm just trying to survive. Now the math is easy. I've always had a head for numbers. It's never been a problem. So the teacher, he puts a bunch of problems on the board. You write the problems down on your piece of paper, and by the third or fourth day, I had figured out to go get some paper. I begged me, Ma, you gotta take me to Save-On's and get some paper. I have to have it. Because they don't provide it. But here's the thing. So I write the problems down, I look at them for a few seconds, and then I write the answer down. And after about 6 minutes, I walk up and I'm ready to turn it in. Mr. Tucker. Yes, Mr. Venica. Mr. Tucker, you haven't shown your work here. Oh, yeah, I did it all in my head. We show our work here. I don't understand. The answers are right? It doesn't matter. Well, no. It does matter, because when you have a math problem, the whole point is to find the correct answer. No. You are to show your work, or I'm not going to allow you to turn it in. Oh. Well, this is a problem. Hold on, okay. So I go back to my seat, and I just put fake work on every problem. And when I go to turn it in, he just takes it. He doesn't even look. So I learned a valuable lesson there, in that the high school, the speed at which high school goes is so fast and furious that the teachers really just look to see if you've done something. Whether you did it right is not the issue. The only people who cared about that were the English teachers, because they would actually read the papers. But math, history, I learned quickly that these guys don't even look. The history teacher was so out to lunch, we started just writing gibberish. Purple crayon. Handsome man. Who was the third president? Handsome man. And we would get A's. We figured it out very quickly. So that became the running gag of high school is you just have to do enough that the teachers think you're paying attention. Now, I was getting all the answers right. I was doing all the work. But the guys who weren't, the guys who were just turning in, the bare minimum, they were getting the same credit as me. So it was a little frustrating learning, not only learning in high school, but learning how high school itself worked. So I'm not going to bore you with every class I went to and I remember most of it, but there are some highlights. And I had PE second or third period. So this, oh God, all I knew from high school was the movies. I had seen 16 Candles many times. I had seen other high school movies. This is before Breakfast Club. There's no Breakfast Club yet. But I'd seen high school movies. So I just assumed that's what high school was like. And it's not. There are dangers, especially for a nerd like I am. But there's nothing to prepare you for it. You are a fish in a bag, and you get 10 minutes of looking around before that bag is dumped into the aquarium. And then you are on your own. So I remember going to PE, physical education, and the first thing was, the thing I had dreaded. You have to change into these little tiny shorts and a tank top, and I just was not used to that. I just was not that guy. I know a lot of families are really they're really free about that. Mom walks around without any clothes on. Dad walks around without any clothes. I never, 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 never. The bathroom door was always closed. When I went to try on clothes at Sears, the changing door was always closed. And yet here I am on a stinky bench in a stinky gym with another locker that I have to have its own special lock for. So I have to write down another combination because I have to change into my PE clothes. So day one, I change into these little tiny, the most embarrassing pair of shorts you can ever imagine. And a little tiny tank top. And you know what? I didn't have the body for it. I don't have the body for it now. I've never had a body to show off. I'm not that guy. And yet, there you're standing there. Oh, you're shivering in tiny shorts and tank top. And guess who my PE teacher is? Mr. Vedica. Not only is he the math teacher, he's the football coach. One of the football coaches. And he also teaches PE. So, he is going to torture me first and second period. Mr. Tucker, oh, God, I'm going to die. It's that same Frankenstein guy. Oh, God. And I'm in little short shorts. And these shoes are not really made for running. So we had a pretty extensive track and field area at Norwalk High, including a full quarter-mile track. We held track meets there. And his Vedica's thing was once this class was assembled, and you only had a few minutes to get in there, you walk over to the track. Now, again, there's no explanation. You're just supposed to know what to do. This guy, Vedica, has no time or patience for any kind of explanations. He has a whistle. He puts the whistle up and he goes, 2 minutes, ready, go. And then he beeps the whistle. I look around and everybody starts running around the track. So I have, again, I was 4'11". I start huffing and puffing and trying to keep up. I'm always at the back of the pack. And you're supposed to do the quarter mile in 2 minutes. And I never did it. I was always at the back of the pack, always at the very end walking in, and just his gaze at me like, you worthless piece of garbage. And it was such a blow of these teachers don't care. This guy could care less. He's not going to motivate me. He's not going to teach me how to run better. I either can do it or I'm dead to him. So, hey, I'm a fast learner, man. So I just started walking it with a couple other, my friend Richard, who was a big guy, and a couple other guys. We just started walking it. Just going to walk it. 2 minutes, whatever, dude. We'll come in 6 minutes later. You're gonna give us that sneer whether we do it or not. So why push ourselves? And then I figured out, because then you get back to the gym after you've done whatever stupid activity you have to do. Mostly running here or running there or da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Then you got to change back into your clothes. Now, are you kidding me? I wasn't going to shower. Oh my God. Stand there nude with other guys? I couldn't do it. I wasn't wired that way. That doesn't sound like anything I could do. I don't know if any amount of peer pressure or teacher cajoling would ever get me into those showers. But 5 years at high school, I never once showered in that gym. Absolutely freaking not. Are you kidding me? A guy like me would get killed. The minute I stood there naked, I'm dead. Defenseless, these guys would have pummeled me into a pool of blood. So, that wasn't happening. So I figured, here's the trick I figured. There was a loophole in the PE dress, the code. You could wear sweats under your shorts. So I made my mother buy me. I said, look, I'm trying to survive here. I need a pair of sweats. So sweatpants under the shorts, and then a sweatshirt. Then I'm fully covered, and I'm okay. And here's what I even went beyond that. I started just putting the sweats on over my pants. So I was wearing underwear, a pair of jeans, sweatpants, and then the shorts, and then the sweatshirt. Because look, I got no girlfriend. Nobody's interested in how I smell. I'm trying to survive PE at the high school level at age 13. At every moment I want to die. So that went on weeks of overdressing until one day Vena goes, Tucker, come here. I've avoided him. I can't avoid him in math class, but I've avoided him in PE for weeks on end of just bare minimum walking and this. Imagine today if this happened. He reached down and he pulled my sweats out and saw that I was wearing jeans underneath it. And he goes, go get changed and go sit down. Oh, cool, I'm out of it. You won't get credit today. I don't know why I won't get credit today. I mean, I did it. Go sit down. So I got caught doing that. And I had to revert back to actually changing because I needed the credits. I quickly, very quickly, sat down with my guidance counselor. I never even saw this guy. To this day, I'm not even sure what his name was because I only saw him a couple of times because I don't need him. I'm not interested. Here's what I need from you. What credits are necessary to fulfill PE needs so that I can get the hell out of here? And that he was helpful because I only spent the 8th grade in regular PE. And I'll get to the rest when I get to the rest. But that solved the PE crisis. I mean, it's like, no offense to people who've been in war, but it was like a tour of duty. You just put your head down and you go, I have to get through this. I have to find a way to just, every day this is going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is, trudge through it. So then I had, like I said, I had history. Mr. Cavan, he was another one of those guys who also was a coach. There was a whole bunch of these guys that taught a class and then they really only cared about coaching. But, okay, whatever. There were also some that really cared about learning, but I didn't get to those in 8th grade. Those would take years to get to. You have to put in your time. So I learned a lot in history. Mostly what I learned was he's not paying attention, so just write whatever you want. And then I got to, first there was lunch, and I brought my lunch for the first few weeks, and then I realized they had a pretty extensive snack bar where you could get, a turkey sandwich, you could get some mini donuts, but most importantly, you could get a fountain soda. So at that time, I was completely addicted to soda, especially, if it came in a glass, in a cup with ice. It was 25 cents. So I would get a soda, hang out, and that's, where we formed a really strong bond of all the outcasts, all the nerds. It was me, Richard, Eric, oh my God, so many people, Scott, Tim Barnhart. It was a whole bunch of us, and we all played Dungeons and Dragons at lunchtime because, we weren't really getting beat up enough. So we needed to come up with something that really put a target on our backs. And there's no easier way to getting a pummeling than actively playing Dungeons and Dragons at school, with your little pouch of dice and your character sheets and maybe a lead figure or two, and start talking about spell casting and hit points and roll for initiative and who's got the 20-sided. This acted as not only a bully attractant, but a female repellent. So it was great on both fronts. But when you're stuck in something like this, and that's all you got, you don't care. You take the bullying as you take it, and that's it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nothing. And probably the first good 6-8 weeks of high school, I got bullied pretty bad. I was a smart ass. I didn't keep my mouth in check. I dressed the way I wanted, and that upset a lot of people. I did not conform in any way, shape, or form. I did not. And that invited bullies. So eventually I ended up at my elective, arts and crafts. And that was the only bright spot of my day, because I was like, this is going to be great. I'll spend a few hours doing math and history and 2 minutes, ready, go, around the track. And then I'll just nice and ease into some arts and crafts and then finish the day off with some English. It'll be easy, because English is easy. I write well. This is going to be great. So I get to arts and crafts, and I'm shocked because each class I've been to before has about 25 to 30 students in it. That's average. Arts and crafts, there's about 50 of us. There aren't enough chairs. There aren't enough desks. And there certainly aren't enough materials for everybody to do an art and or craft. So they threw some of us out, and they started backwards. So they went, from the back of the alphabet. So TU, I was thrown right out. I never made an art, and I never made a craft in that class. I was barely there. I was there, I think, 2 days before they realized, look, too many kids have picked this. Too many kids had the same idea that it was going to be easy, and it's time to go. So I was back up at the office, and they gave me a choice. The only electives that were available that had space, I could take home economics, and I thought about that for a while. Home economics, because at this point, I was a latchkey kid. I'd get off at 2:50 from high school, walk home. My mother wasn't home till nearly 6. So my sister and I would make dinner, make food. We would make top ramen or soup. Like we cooked from a pretty early age. Having the drunks at the house made us very sufficient. We took care of ourselves. So I thought, I could take home ec, and I could learn how to make more food dishes. I mean, at the very least. I know I'd heard that they carried an egg around for a while that had nail polish on it, and you couldn't break the egg because the egg represented your baby or something. I don't want to do that, but I can certainly, cook in a kitchen and all that. So I thought about it, and then, like the angels on your shoulder, the one that's been telling you, you'll learn how to cook, and your mom will be proud, this will be cool. Then the other one shows up and goes, are you not getting your ass kicked enough? You want to take home ec? There's nothing but girls in there. The other one's like, hey, there's nothing but girls in there. Yeah, buddy, you're going to be called a girl. You're going to be called gay. This was the 80s, so the word fag was thrown around a lot. Oh my God. Anything out of the ordinary, you were called a fag. I mean, I was called a fag a lot. So after a while, the word had no meaning to me. I'd heard it all. Jeff Fucker. Yeah, oh, clever. When the papers would get passed back, Jeff Tucker would have another line under the T to make Jeff Fucker. Oh, cool, man. High school was a little more, other than fag, I got called Jeff Tucker Buttfucker. That's great, right? You can see how it's broken me up all these years later. Oh, what will I do? They don't like me. the guys that I would never hang out with or talk to don't like me. What a shock. So I didn't take home ec. I just had this moment of, I'm going to find myself stuffed in an oven, slowly roasting in my own juices while the teacher's gone. So instead, and this is weird, this is where life shows you that sometimes things happen for a reason, and destiny steps in, and kismet and fate and all those fancy words, because they put me in drama. I had done a couple of plays at the elementary school level, just as fun, but I'd never considered acting as a thing for me. It just, hey, it's fun, but I don't want to take a class and all that. But at this point, that was the only choice. So I picked up my stuff, and instead of going to arts and crafts, I went to drama, where there was like 50 kids in there. But the teacher, Mrs. Regalado, didn't care. She was going to teach us all. She had time for everybody. And the first day in there, I just watched and trying to take in, like, where are we? And she was teaching us a 3-part pantomime where you come in, you introduce what the character is doing, something bad happens, and then you get out of it, right? 3 parts. It's the 3 parts of drama, folks. Introduction, conflict, resolution. And I immediately got this. Like, oh, some kids are having a lot of trouble. They're opening the door, and once they come to the door, nothing's happening. And this just sort of clicked in me, and I can still remember exactly what I did for that first assignment. I walked up, I played an imaginary piano, and then imaginary fruit was thrown at me because I was terrible, tomatoes. And then I persevered, and the audience got to like me by the look on my face. And the teacher got it, and I was given high marks. And I kind of was like, I think I found my thing. I think I found my home where I can make high school work for me. And that's a big deal, because it was by total accident. Like, oh my God, this drama thing is fun, but more than that, this drama thing is going to save my life. Because it's going to be the one thing that gets me up in the morning and gets me to school and gets me through the other classes, because drama is waiting. So that really became important, like really important. The last class I took was English. I sat, there was pick your own desk, which was nice. I wasn't in the back of the room. I was near the front. But I was behind a guy named Felipe. And the first week of school, I didn't have any paper. So I figured out quickly, this Felipe guy, he's got a lot of paper. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. In the land of better bring your own paper, the guy with the ream is king. And I would go, Felipe, can I borrow a piece of paper? Like, how do you borrow a piece of paper? I'm not going to give it back. I'm going to write on it. It's going to be useless. And he would just, he'd rip it out. He'd give it to me. Next day, Felipe, can I borrow a piece of paper? Jeff, you really need to get your own paper. Yes, I'm working on it. I'm going to get it from my mother this weekend. Rip, here you go. Next day, let me guess. Piece of paper? Yeah, Felipe, maybe an extra one? Ugh. You know what? God bless Felipe for giving me those sheets of paper. Because you've no way to do your work. There's no iPads. There's no nothing except piece of paper that you have to have. And here's the funny part. I am still really good friends with Felipe. It has been 30 plus years since I bothered that poor man for a piece of paper. But Felipe joined me in drama. And we really, it's hard to describe how taken you can be with this thing. You know, some guys work on a car and all of a sudden they get it. They can see the car, they can be the car, they can fix the car, they know what the car's doing by the sound it makes. And for some of us nerds, it was drama. Drama was king. Like I didn't even know I wanted this in my life. And then in the spring, like I made it all the way through. I even went to a couple dances at the school, the homecoming dance, the back to school dance, the Sadie Hawkins dance. I put a picture up where the Sadie Hawkins dance is where the girl asks the guy. No one was asking me, but a girl did ask 3 of us to go. So it's me and Felipe and the other guy in our trio, David Lewis. Now, David Lewis was a year older than us. He was a freshman. So in drama, David was the guy showing us the ropes and talking about everything that had happened the year before we got there. And thank God we were here now. And it all became like, I can do this now. I went from bottomless despair in high school. Vedeka was tough that first year. He wasn't the toughest teacher I would encounter at Norwalk High, but he was pretty darn tough. And that show your work thing really threw a wrench in how my brain worked, because not only did I have to crunch the numbers in my head, but then I had to figure a way to crunch them on paper so that the teacher could figure out that what I was doing was the way they were teaching it, even if it wasn't. But meeting David and Felipe and bonding with drama is what really, really got my high school career on track in 8th grade. So in the spring, the Mrs. Regalado had auditions for the big play, and they were going to do Grease. And I was embarrassed to admit I had never seen Grease. Never seen it. So I didn't know the plot. I didn't know nothing. I also knew, most importantly, I couldn't sing a note. Hey, I can tell you jokes all day. I cannot sing a note. I have never taken a singing class. I am not a singer. When I sing, dogs howl. But I was going to try out for this musical if it killed me. So I tried out. I was very tiny. Everybody else in the cast. Here's the thing about high school. You're in there with adults. The seniors are 18. Some of them are 19. They have mustaches. They have beards. The girls are fully developed into women. So I look like one of Santa's elves next to these guys and girls. But drama was the big equalizer. I didn't care. I got up there, I read the lines, I sang a song, and I watched as the director, Mrs. Regalado, and she had a couple of guys come in, these guys named Tim and Dave, who were former students, and they were going to help out. And they convinced her that even though I wasn't ready for a part in the play, I was way too young, I was way too inexperienced, that there was still a place for me in the play. So they created parts for, a bunch of kids like me. So we were just students at Rydell. And they gave me bits to do where I'd have to give up my lunch money. My locker would open and things would fall out. At the big dance with Vince Fontaine, I danced Goofy. And there was a moment during rehearsal where the guy playing Vince Fontaine was an adult. It was to counter all the kids in the. I think it was Dave, one of the co-directors. So I was there with this girl. We were dancing at the dance, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to try something." So I walked over to Vince Fontaine as the scene was ending, and I brought out a piece of paper and a pen and asked for his autograph. And when the scene stopped, the director pulled me aside and said, "Hey, that was really good. That was very intuitive, and I want to keep it in the show." And instead of getting yelled at, I was given praise for my creativity, and I was like, "Oh, there's more opportunities here. Like, I can make this little tiny non-part into something." And here's the other thing about that weird production of Grease. The guy playing Danny couldn't sing a note. The guy playing Kaniki, he was okay, but couldn't really sing. They were seniors who were trying to get enough credits to graduate, and Maggie Regalado was the conduit. Come do a play. I'll make sure you have enough credits. So Maggie had a lot of pull, you know. The girl playing Sandy I had gone to church with, so I kind of knew her and kind of didn't. And I danced with two girls in the dance scene. I danced with this girl, Kelly, who was older than me. And I danced with this girl, Sarah, who was the same age as me. Now, Sarah and I would go on to never date, even though I wanted to desperately. It never happened. But that's the following year. Kelly and I would have a much different relationship where I would stare at her and just idolize her, and she would look at me like I was a bug. And she was the one, if you remember the episode that I had Carla Perez on from Power Rangers, I told a story of putting a flower on a girl's door. That was Kelly, and she just was, she had no, I didn't even register in her life. Which I thought, I mean, looking back, it's hysterical. There was such a hierarchy of cool and not cool, and I was way at the bottom. And I get it. I deserved it. And here's the thing that high school, if your parents, or in my case, my parent, wasn't there to teach me things, you can damn sure believe the kids in high school were going to. That 8th grade year, I didn't shower as much as I needed to. I hadn't figured that out yet. And it took one of the guys in the play, this guy named Henry. Henry walked over to me and he goes, "Tucker, you need to shower more. You stink." And that's all it took. He wasn't rude about it. He wasn't mean. He was giving me some advice. And after that, I got up every morning and I took a shower. And that became a life lesson. I don't go anywhere now without showering. So, I mean, it's weird the memories that you have and that you keep. And I know that I'm an anomaly and I keep way too much stuff. Because I can remember, Grease is a musical. And the play opens with the Rydell High alma mater song. It's "As I Go Traveling Down Life's Highway." And I was backstage. You sing it backstage. Because the plot of Grease is that you're at their anniversary and they're remembering the way things used to be. So I'm back there belting out the alma mater, and Maggie walks over backstage and she goes, just lip sync, Jeff. Just lip sync. And I got the point. I can't sing. I get it. I cannot sing. And I think in that moment of Maggie telling me not to, and again, I wasn't offended. I was brought up strong. It did not offend me in the slightest, because I was fully aware that I could not sing. I get it. But in that moment, I thought to myself, we're going to do a play eventually, and that's where I'm going to shine. Because I can't sing. So I'll just, instead of making things change for me, I will figure a way to tweak the system enough that it works for me. Because you can do a play as easy as you can do a musical. It's not ruining anybody's good time. I totally get that. For Grease, we had a full band. A full band played the music for Grease. Grease was a big production. And even though I was only in a few scenes, I attended every rehearsal. I was there every Saturday to paint sets and hang lights. And drama became the driving force in my life. And for the first time ever, I was falling asleep at school. I remember being in English class one day and just banging my head. Bang! I fell asleep. I looked over, and a couple other people were falling asleep, and they were in the play as well. And that's when I realized, like, damn, we're hardcore. We're falling asleep. That's how late we're out doing this thing. And when the play went up in the spring, I couldn't have been prouder. I had survived high school and found my place. And I was in a production. I was in Greece. And I was at a cast party where people were drinking and jumping off of a roof into a pool. I was 13. And I had never seen anything like that before. It was unbelievable. It was so much fun. I never wanted it to end. And I mean, that's saying something about a guy who was not going to survive high school to begin with. To close out the year like, I did it. I found my spot. Oh my God. So, 8th grade came to a close. I survived it, thank God. And I learned a lot of lessons on how to deal with high school, how to figure things out. One of the biggest things I did was there were a lot of seniors and juniors in the Grease play. Felipe was in it with me. At least I think he was. I know he was in the second production. Maybe he wasn't in Grease. I'd have to ask him. But other guys in the production, Gene Oden, Stevie Real, who's a big singer now with Olivia Newton-John. There were a bunch of people that became like lifelong friends. And more importantly, these were big seniors and juniors. So I remember sitting there one day and one of the big dudes, I mean, these are big dudes. What's wrong, Tucker? What's wrong? Oh, nothing. Dude, you're upset. What's wrong? Some guy was hassling me. Who? That guy. I'll be right back. Guy walked over, put his finger in that guy's chest and said, you ever even look sideways at Jeff Tucker again and you're effing dead. And guess what? That guy never bothered me again. I sound like Goodfellas. They got hit so hard they never complained again. You know what I mean? Like suddenly I had muscle on my side. And that was like a big confidence booster. Like I don't have to be afraid anymore. I can live my life, you know? And I closed out that year feeling pretty good. Like I can do this. And I got the biggest boost that summer because school went from fall 84 to spring 85 and then ended in summer 85. And I got out of school, I had a plan for my freshman year that I was going to excel. I've learned the lay of the land. I am not a new guy anymore. I can't wait for September to go back to school and do it all over again. As a freshman, now I have a title. I won't be an 8th grade kid. I'll be a freshman. My mom offered to buy the yearbook for my 8th grade. I told her not to. I said, I don't, these are memories I don't want. So I don't have that yearbook. I keep looking for it on eBay. Someday I'll find it. I found the year before, so I have the year before I got there, which has all the people that were in Greece as juniors and sophomores. But I figured 9th grade is where I'll really start to shine, because I've stumbled enough that now I can walk. And then the summer of '85 gave me Back to the Future, and that just became so incredibly important to me that I used it as a way to get through almost any strife. I mean, I know that sounds bizarre, right? I used a movie to get through strife, to get through problems, but that's the way, that's exactly what I did. Exactly what I did. And I still have my friends, the ones that count, from that very first week of school. And if I, here's what I'm gonna do. Next time I see Felipe, I'm going to give him a ream of paper, and I'm going to say thanks. Hey, tune in next time for 9th grade, because it only gets better from here, couldn't it, right? It only gets better from here. This is episode 1 in an ongoing series. Next episode in this series will be 9th grade, my freshman year. It'll be a whole new year with a whole new set of problems. I'm Jeff Tucker, and this is 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?